Let's see, Nitro. I have 2 shows? I do have 2 shows on here. Hang on, I got lost. Hold up. Well, there we go. All right. Live, not live podcasting. Nitro 108, October 6, 1997. This show also opened with a memorial graphic for Brian Pillman. That was nice.
That was nice.
The Nitro girls danced.
Titties.
Craig, do you have anything to say?
You better not have watched it.
You just started giggling right away.
We told you.
It was pixelated.
You were warned.
It was pixelated.
No, she just had a pixelated nipple.
Right.
Okay.
They did not show the nipple.
No, in real life, it's not pixelated.
Oh.
I don't think.
No.
Anyway, yes, there was a wardrobe malfunction, everyone.
I just thought it funny right after this somber moment of Brian Pillman, and then, hey, look, tits.
Hey.
It was fitting.
Brian Pillman would have appreciated that.
He got the last laugh. It's
true.
Yes.
He yanked that from above.
He may have. That all makes sense now. So a man with a unibrow held up a sign declaring his daughter would be a future Nitro girl at this exact moment.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Bad timing.
Eric Bischoff and Hollywood Hogan came out for a promo and said literally nothing.
What did they say? They said so nothing? I don't even know what they said.
It doesn't matter. They said nothing. Jeff Jarrett versus Booker T. They were in Minneapolis. They promised that Ric Flair would return to his birth city to hunt down Kurt Hennig, who was also from Minnesota.
Okay, I'm not going to lie. So I was very busy today, and so the first couple of matches on Nitro, I had to fast forward.
You shouldn't have fast forward through this match.
I had to use the 30-second button because I needed to just catch up some time.
Yeah.
So this match starts, and Jarrett is stalling, and so I hit the 30 seconds waiting for wrestling, and he was stalling.
Yes.
And I hit it again, and he was stalling. I swear to God, I hit it 8 times. I saw nothing but Jarrett stalling.
It was beautiful, Brian.
They had some time.
Did I miss anything here?
Yes.
Oh.
They had a very good TV match.
I watched the second half in the end when Mongo came out. I absolutely adore Mongo. There's something about his jacket and his hair and his sunglasses. He's always Mongo.
And those mid-length wrestling trunks.
Yeah, he's never
They're not tights,
Mongo.
they're not trunks, there's halfway in between.
He's always on, yeah.
Yeah, you never see him off. You never see him as Steven.
Well, I should hope not.
Why was that so funny?
I don't know.
Not even Steve, it's Steven. So this match is great, Brian. You missed a great TV match.
Dude, it wasn't better than Benoit versus Kurt Hennig, so I'm cool with missing it.
It was not better than Hell in a Cell. It was a very, very good TV
Just
match.
the pacing was so great.
You know what it was? It was a professional wrestling match.
Yeah.
Because Booker
So
T
good.
was a very good tag team guy who was starting a singles run, and they worked that in the story, by the way. And Jeff Jarrett was a great worker who knew what to do with a talented guy like that, and they had a great match. So Booker's making his comeback. He hits the sidekick. Grown men leap to their feet and begin to raise the roof.
These people were going crazy for this match.
Yes. Mongo chooses this moment to come out and confront Deborah. Now, I know what I'm about to say is a heavy example of the pot calling the kettle black. But Mongo, you gotta move on, dude. Can't dwell on these things. Gotta move on.
Oh, the woman?
Yeah. Now I'm a happily married man. And
Sure.
I intend to stay that way.
Thank God I wasn't here last
Well,
week.
he was now an unhappily
It's
unmarried
great. You didn't
man.
miss anything. Mongo was unhappily unmarried and was very unhappy.
No, I was talking about you.
I know. No, I'm good.
Okay.
So Deborah slaps Mongo. He punches Jarrett into the ring. Booker gets a win with a cradle. This is to be continued.
Dude, can you imagine breaking up with somebody and in storyline you get to slap them over and over again?
Can you imagine your woman leaving you, and then on TV she gets to slap you repeatedly in front of a nationwide audience
Yes.
every week, and you got to stand there and take it?
Absolutely.
The
Man.
announcer's saying, when Mongo shows up, this is really eating at him. You can tell when he walks into the building. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
They wanted some real emotion.
You couldn't find anything else for this guy to do in a roster of like 80 guys.
You know, one other thing, Vince never liked the old Southern style guys doing Southern style matches. But you know what? That shit works.
It worked here.
It did. That's the point. You know how to work, you can get any crowd into you.
Alex Wright versus Billy Kidman.
This was not Jeff Jarrett and Booker T.
This was Alex Wright and Billy Kidman.
This also went 9 hours, and it was not as good, I presume.
6:03.
It was not.
No
Kidman-
way.
Swear to God.
No way.
Kidman got thrown outside, eyeballed Raven, who is now sitting next to Perry Saturn. It always makes me laugh.
You know what's amazing about this? You know, I keep ranting about Stevie Richards and his gear.
Yes.
Perry Saturn is out there, and he's wearing Daisy Dukes,
And a hoodie.
and he's wearing a hoodie with no shirt underneath.
Right.
But like I had no problem with it. Because Perry Saturn himself
Well, he's got,
is such a badass looking dude.
Yes.
and he's in shape.
It's kind of like if you're a really good looking movie star, you can walk around in the street wearing fucking anything and you'll look good. But if you're just an average looking geek, you got to wear something nice. And I think in wrestling today, there's too many average looking geeks.
Why are you looking at me?
Vinny, take notes.
just wearing normal stuff. It doesn't work like that. Perry Saturn could get away with it. Stevie Richards could not.
I apologize, Vince.
Jesse Ventura once said it takes a real man to walk around in a pink feather boa. I think you say the same thing about a man in Daisy Dukes. No? All right. In the middle of this match,
He wasn't a man, he was a planet.
They cut backstage. Mongo and Deborah were bickering, and Jarrett's there, and Deborah slaps Mongo again. And Mongo vows to solve the problem by rumbling with Jarrett at Halloween Havoc.
Mongo was great. He's going to give this guy a whipping.
So after like 3 months, I have finally figured out what Alex Wright is doing with the stupid top rope move. It is a flying, rolling, single leg foot stomp.
Yeah, where have you been?
Because every time he does it, I think
It looks so stupid, Brian.
it looks so bad. I assume he's doing it wrong.
No, he's just got a really stupid move.
It's a really awful move. Crowd was distracted by a guy in a pink robe pretending to be Ric Flair. Match was boring. Kidman missed a 450, and Alex danced and won with a German suplex.
God, it was like Kidman does a 450, but he just does a flip and lands on his feet and then smashes his head on the ground. And Alex starts dancing and looking at the people and wasting time. Then he grabs him and Germans him and pins him. I was like, you killed Kidman.
Yes, he did.
Fuck.
This is the man you defend every week when I tell you I hate him.
I'm entertained by him, but he sucks. There's two totally different things.
Mortis versus Ernest Miller. Zbyszko is sure to point out that karate is useful for fighting multiple opponents, but wrestling is best for one-on-one fights.
I like the idea that if you do karate, you can defend yourself against 10 men.
Sure.
Right.
But as an art, it's not effective against one.
Right. His math does not add up.
And then they go, Larry, we know you are a practitioner of the martial arts. And Larry goes, I'm not a practitioner. I'm a teacher. I was like, oh, sorry.
So this was a match that would have fit right in on a 2016 wrestling show. And your typical 2016 wrestling fan probably wouldn't realize it was a bad match. But when you watch this in the context of what we watched in 97, good matches and bad matches, this was a bad wrestling match. In the third match on the card, with two guys at the very bottom rung of the ladder, Mortis took it upon himself, God bless Chris Kanyon, he decided, I'm going to use and kill every finisher in the world in this match. He got the heat with a top rope Fame-asser. Move. No, I don't think anyone was using the regular Fame-asser at this point. But he did this flying top rope leg drop and lands on the man's head, and it was a transition move.
God bless Canyon, but he liked his moves.
You got a for a near fall, superplex for a near fall.
This is the Cesaro superplex.
It was the Cesaro superplex.
Yeah.
Got to get no one else moves. No one else is doing. No one cared about these moves, mind you, but no one else is doing them.
Well, let's cut to the chase.
All right.
Ernest Miller won, and for a guy with no formal training and less than a year in the business, yeah, this match was bad, but he was really good.
Finish looked really good.
Yeah, he sold forever. Could
He
out
had
of everything.
so much potential, but then he just stopped here.
Yes, he became a cartoon character. They also announced Disco Inferno would be defending the TV title against Medusa. Somewhere in there, they said there was a production assistant or something named Wendy Turnbuckle.
Jacqueline, you mean?
That's true. That was her name.
I did write Medusa.
It's Jacqueline.
Jacqueline.
Vinny.
Yes, Wendy Turnbuckle was a woman who actually worked in WCW. I guess so. Even Larry was appalled by this. Scott Hall and Six came out for a promo. Called themselves the Wolf Pack, which they've been doing for a while now, but said Nash was home, hurt with a bad knee, and Nash has his own ribs taped. Says, an average man would be in the hospital tonight, but I was not going to let my fans down. The reason we got hurt, we were watching old Larry Zbyszko tapes, and we laughed so hard we fell down.
I can believe that.
Crowds chanting Larry's name, and Hall promises to beat Lex at Havoc, even with Luger's handpicked ref, and they did many crotch chops.
They're doing a really good job with Larry versus Hall.
They are building that matchup great.
Hall had such great delivery. He had nothing to say, but it was great.
Yeah. It was time for the second hour. So think about this. There's this huge pyro display of fireworks and explosion and sound. And then they go to commercial. All right, way to follow up on that momentum. Scott Hall versus Hector Garza. Hall beat the hell out of him forever. Occasionally would comically oversell his ribs just to remind us all he was faking an injury. Bullying the ref, abusing him, manhandling him. 6 at a Bronco Buster. Hall hit the edge for the win. Throws the ref down to make the count. This is all to build to a special referee match, and they're so simple and so effective in how they're building to it. Because Scott Hall manhandles and abuses the referees every week. They're all intimidated and scared, and we need a badass ref like Larry Zbyszko to lay down the law.
Well, keep in mind also the other part of the storyline where they made sure that they got that Hector Garza in the end. But thank God he put him over the week before.
Yeah.
Put him over 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And still brags about how they put him over years and years later.
Probably did. So 6 drops the ref with a high kick, and Hall puts the ref in the torture rack for good measure. The Nitro girls danced. It is my reluctant duty to note their clothes stayed on. Disco Inferno versus Dallas Page. Just a match. I did love. Page makes his comeback, hits that pancake pile driver. He signals for the diamond cutter, and the place is going nuts. And all he has to do is grab this dude, hit a cutter, and win. But no, he must make it more complicated and difficult. So first he lifts up into a fireman's carry, then hits a cutter, which is in fact the TKO. And he gets the win.
You know, it's amazing.
Go ahead.
It's amazing. It's 2016, and sometimes we see stuff from the 97 era, like this fucking Hell in a Cell, which nothing could touch today. But then you see Randy Orton, who, by the way, Daniel Bryan did an interview, and he said that the best man that he had ever stepped in the ring with in his whole entire career was Randy Orton. I remember that spot at WrestleMania where they did, it's so memorable to me, I can't remember exactly what it was, but he did an awesome RKO at WrestleMania.
With Seth Rollins?
That's right. Seth went for the curb stomp, and he stood up and then hit the RKO in midair. And we have like he just hit so many great RKOs out of nowhere. You watch Dallas Page, who in 1997 was also basically hitting RKOs out of nowhere.
Sure.
It's so primitive.
Yeah.
It's like watching the Flintstones.
But it still works.
It does, but it's like hilarious how at the time it was so innovative how every week he found a new way to get a man into the diamond cutter.
Evan Bourne did not do a shooting star press and he hit him with a diamond cutter.
No.
That did not happen.
Dallas Page was very, very good about knowing what to do to get over. Randy Orton is capable of doing the same stuff so much better.
Oh, man.
He is so much smoother, so much more graceful.
I wonder how Randy will be remembered.
That is a fascinating question.
In 20 years, his peers will talk about how he was one of the all-time greats.
Yes.
And all the fans who were bored shitless watching his matches
a lot of the time
are going to not vote him into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Talk about a guy's stock that's plummeted.
Randy?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. I think he's more over than ever after he took that beating.
I hope you're right.
So Page hits this move, and I must correct myself. He did not get the win. This was a TV title match. Before he made the cover, Randy Savage zoomed in and attacked him for the DQ. He went to pile drive Page in the cement, but Roddy Piper appeared. He broke that up. Piper spits in Savage's face. Before Savage could retaliate, Page grabbed Savage as a diamond cutter on the cement. And Page and Piper flee through the crowd. The entire NWO runs out to lend a hand. Not just the B-teamers, but Hogan, Bischoff, Hall, the bigwigs. Elizabeth comes out with the EMTs. She's crying, Shivani says, and we don't feel sorry for her.
Wow.
Yeah, they were kind of jerks here.
They were assholes. They're trying to justify it with all the times the NWO has done stuff like this, but hey, 2 wrongs don't make a right. So the crowd, as Randy Savage is eventually loaded up onto a backboard and taken away, the crowd sings the goodbye song. And we had peak Mike Tenay, who cannot just say the crowd singing the goodbye song. Mike Tenay has to say, they're chanting, na-na, na-na. I laughed.
He's amazing.
NWO vowed revenge. Immediately afterwards, they go to break, and then immediately Jane brings Piper out for a promo. Why doesn't the whole NWO come out right now? So Piper, who is still the commissioner of the place, he demands the Outsiders defend their tag titles next week, or they'll be stripped of the belts. He announces Page Savage at Havoc would be a last man standing match. And starts to talk about Hogan when Hogan and Bischoff finally come out to get him. And Hogan faces him down, and Hogan cuts an awesome promo. He says, "You'll never be an icon as long as I exist. Our careers have paralleled for the past 15 years, and for 15 years you've been in my shadow. All these big crowds are here to see me. All these big TV ratings are here because of me. I'm going to beat you in the cage. I'm going to pin you as many times as I want. I'm going to put you in a wheelchair, and I'm going to end your career." This was awesome. He shoves Piper. Piper goes to defend himself, but Bischoff kicks him in the leg from behind, and Hogan takes Piper down and starts manhandling him. And Bischoff accidentally kicks Hogan. Piper makes his own comeback. If I'm being honest, Bischoff's strikes looks better than Piper's. NWO comes out to make the save. Piper is swinging the World Championship around to defend himself and fight them all off. This segment was great.
It was great. Hulk Hogan, when he's on, when he actually has something to talk about, he's a hell of a promo.
Oh, yeah.
That's a mind-shattering statement right there.
Write that down.
Hulk Hogan could talk.
Hogan, good talker. Nitro Girls danced again. They announced that if Mongo beat Jarrett at Havoc, then Deborah would have to leave WCW. Mike Tenay did another segment talking about Lucha Libre and the Mexican Luchadors. This was... I'm not a lucha expert, so maybe this was rife with errors, but as far as I can tell, this was a pretty good history package, given that they had 3 minutes to work with.
3 minutes to cover
70 years?
70 years?
Yeah. Boxing promoter Salvador Luderoff goes to the U.S., sees pro wrestling, brings it back to Mexico. They list some of the classic luchadors of the past, explain the differences and definitions of the Rudos and Technicos, talked about the When Worlds Collide show, and we got a brief clip of Los Gringos Locos. Listed some of the biggest Mexican promotions, including both AAA and EMLL. And that was that. And it was fun while it lasted.
I enjoyed that 3 minutes.
Eddie Guerrero versus Ultimo Dragon.
Oh my God, what a great match.
This was awesome.
This was, I can't say it was better than everything in the Cruiserweight Classic, but it was better than a lot of it.
It was better than a lot of it, that's true. I will admit, I had very high expectations when they came out, and I was a little disappointed. It was not as great as I thought it would be. Dragon hooked the sleeper. Eddie got the ropes. Eddie hits a tornado DDT, and he goes up for the frog splash. But Dragon got his wires crossed, and he is way over yonder in the other corner. And I can't believe Eddie even tried. I would have jumped down and just said hell with it. But Eddie tried to go for the frog splash. He launched himself all the way across the ring, scored a headbutt to the chest, and got the win.
It was amazing. The guy was where he was, and Eddie looked at him, and he looked at the turnbuckle, and it was patently obvious the guy was too far away. And he was like, I'm doing it anyway.
Let's see what happens.
I'm just going to jump as hard as I can.
If this turns into a flying axe handle to the sternum, so be it.
It did.
But pretty much. And they showed a Benoit Hennig match ending via NWO run-in on Saturday night.
Well, thank God we got the good one here.
We got Chris Benoit versus Kurt Hennig here.
This match was so awesome. Do you remember it was like last week where I said, this Kurt Hennig, he ain't Mr. Perfect. Mm-hmm. He was tonight. Benoit beat the shit out of him. And Kurt Hennig took every wacky Kurt Hennig bump for all of Chris Benoit's awesome offense. And it was the best mesh of offense and, I can't say defense. There was no defense. It was so great.
He accepted these offensive moves.
He gave him a chop outside. And first, Kurt Hennig is jaw-jacking or high-fiving an NWO fan.
The match hasn't started yet.
Yeah,
Hennig's fucking with a fan in the aisle.
He's in the aisle. And Chris Benoit runs up and kicks his leg out of his leg. And Kurt Hennig does his flip thing that he does in the ring, holding onto the ropes. But he does it on the guardrail, and it's right in his head. Then Benoit gives him a chop, and Kurt Hennig hits his head on the steel steps.
Okay, let's stop there.
It's just so great.
This happened, and I grabbed my head and screamed. Mm-hmm. I thought, what the hell happened? What went wrong? And I went back to watch it. You know what went wrong? Nothing. This was their plan.
Yeah.
Hennig checks behind him just to make sure he knows where the stairs are. He turns back to Benoit. Benoit throws a chop. Hennig launches himself up and back and twists. And as he is coming back down to earth, he leans in and throws his head against the side of the stairs.
So awesome.
Jesus.
And then Benoit treats him like The Undertaker treated Shawn Michaels.
He did.
Yeah.
He beat the shit out of him hither and yon. And like he beat him so bad that I knew that
He was losing.
Benoit was losing. It was patently obvious. But eventually, Hennig got the heat with a dragon screw leg whip off the middle rope. He starts beating the hell out of the guy. There is a spot where they're in the corner and Benoit's laying a beating on him. And finally, big, tough Kurt Hennig has had enough. And he unleashes fury on Chris Benoit. Beats the absolute hell out of him. And then fires up and pumps his fists and shakes his body to the crowd. And they all go absolutely crazy. And Bobby Heenan's going crazy. And I just thought, Kurt Hennig has to be so appreciative that Benoit got this performance out of him tonight. Because boy, did he ever.
It's pretty awesome to see a vet like Hennig basically take a flip bump for a chop and land on his head for Benoit.
Well, he knew that you either sell for this guy or he's going to hit you harder.
Well, he was hitting him plenty hard. And Hennig landing on his head to sell for Benoit was highly entertaining.
I loved every moment of this match. It was my second favorite match I've seen all day.
So Hennig really, uncovers a turnbuckle. He takes a pad down. But first, he himself is thrown into it, and Benoit makes his comeback. But after Benoit makes his furious comeback, Hennig is able to lure him into the corner, and Benoit charges, and this time he hits the metal, and Hennig wins with the fisherman suplex. The NWO all come out. Hennig got his win clean, but now they want to stomp Benoit anyway because they're mean. Flair comes out to make the save. Flair charges down to ringside, chops the piss out of everyone. Hennig bails. Flair gives chase. Remember those Mr. Perfect vignettes where he showed he was perfect at every single sport?
Wasn't perfect at running.
See, I was very impressed.
I was too, but the point is, Hennig just did this long match with Benoit.
Yeah.
And he's clearly tired. And Flair hits the ring, and Flair starts throwing chops. And Hennig is aware Flair is now going to chase me to the back. Mm-hmm. But we're going to do the old Abdullah the Butcher run where we'll do the Becky Lynch run. We'll maybe move our arms and legs, but not really go very fast. But Flair is fucking hauling ass.
Flair was
and he
moving.
gives chase, and Hennig rolls out of the ring, and he sees the guy coming, and he's like, Jesus Christ, I gotta run.
Oh, yeah.
And he runs, and Flair is running faster than him.
Uh-huh.
He chases this guy all the way up the ramp. I was watching this going, this Mr. Perfect, this Ric Flair, these guys were amazing athletes.
Yes.
Flair especially. Flair doesn't get the credit because he's no Shawn Michaels. He's not smooth like Shawn Michaels.
Right.
But this guy was an unbelievable athlete. Mm-hmm. And you could see it here. There was just this... I was like, you better run, Kurt, because he's going to kill you.
With the exception of the time Wade Barrett ran so fast he lapped the earth and came back behind Mark Henry, I don't think I've ever seen one wrestler chase another wrestler so quickly. These men were sprinting like Usain Bolt. They could not go any faster if they tried. So he chases Hennig out of the building, down the street, and perhaps out of Minnesota entirely.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
I'm sure he left the state.
We saw Hennig in his gear running down the sidewalk and out of sight from the building.
Which is not only funny because it's a grown man in his gear, but it's a grown man. This isn't little kids on the playground.
No.
This is one man came running and another man ran away, and the first guy kept chasing him.
And they ran as fast as they could.
All the way out of the building.
This was fight or flight. Your life is in the balance. You better run. Eventually, Flair gives up. And he walks back to the building. And he's not walking slow. But you knew he needed this walk to catch his breath to cut this promo. He gets back in the building. Gene asks him one question on the ramp. Flair just takes the mic away and goes down to the ring.
Gene was trying so desperately to hold on to the mic.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what a professional does.
Yes. And Ric Flair takes it. Because that's what Ric Flair does. He said it was great to be back. In his career, he had taken every wrestling move in the world. He always came back. Talked about this feud with Hennig. He said it's not about politics because they've wanted me gone for 10 years. And it's not about being the best because arguably, he said loudly over and over again, there has never been anyone better than the Nature Boy. He vows to finish Hennig off at Halloween Havoc, whether the match is booked or not. Then he addresses Hogan, Says, for all the great names in wrestling, the Briscoes, the Funks, Dusty Rhodes, Harley Race. And the bottom line is, I am Ric Flair, and you're not. And he promised to get his hands on Hogan on Nitro before the end of the year. And that was that.
What a promo.
Hogan and Flair were the best on this show.
Oh, my God, what a promo that was. Nothing like it today. Sad.
God, no.
There aren't cage matches like this today. There aren't matches like Benoit and Kurt Hennig today. There aren't promos like Flair. Sad. But hey, Raw was good. At least you got a good Raw to watch this week, Vinny.
That's good.
Unless they cut out all the good stuff. Even the New Day was great. All right, everybody, that's it. We're going to wrap it up. Vinny, plug your podcast.
Everyone go listen to Locked On Seahawks, their daily Seahawks podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Locked Seahawks. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Locked On Seahawks. I almost got through that clean. Send us a line, lockedonseahawks@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
You know what's funny, Vinny? You have one voice on this show, and you have another voice on Locked On Seahawks.
Yeah.
And when you plugged your Seahawks podcast, you went into your other voice.
I try on that show.
Crazy.
Maybe that's a mistake, but I do
think
try
it
on that
is,
show.
actually.
Probably is.
It'd be much better if you stopped trying. All right, everybody, we're going to wrap it up. Back tomorrow with more. We'll talk to you again after a while.
Good night.
Bye.